Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, Timothy McGorry. I'm saying both names.
It's true. I don't know why I write Timothy all the time. I don't refer to myself as Timothy.
You don't.
I usually say, like, why did you say Timothy? What am I, some erudite trust fund kid?
You don't see, you don't come off as, that's my real name's Jerry. I don't feel like a Jerry.
Your born name is Jerry.
My Christian given name, Jerry Thomas Light III. And I am none of those things.
Because I thought Jerry was a slang name.
It's supposed to be slang for Gerald or Gerard.
Jared or Gerard.
Any of the things with a Jer up front.
You got a couple of Gerards in the McGorry clan.
Yeah.
A couple of Gerards.
We've got...
I think it's more fun to say than Jared on the whole.
I'm a third, so I'm the third Jerry in the world.
I was almost a fourth.
Really?
Dad was the third. Dad was John Edward McGorry the third. And then he's like, and I'm like, I don't know. But then he named me after that wizard from Monty Python. Tim's not a family name. He just loved Python.
Loved Monty Python.
Some who call me Tim. He's like, that's my kid's name. That's what I'm naming my kid. It's like the equivalent of me naming my kid Sonic in the future. I don't know.
Either after the video game character or the fast food franchise.
Tangents.
Or the new... Have you seen the posters for the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie, by the way, with his
starring
legs?
A man who I've shared the stage with on more than one occasion, Ben Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz as Sonic the Hedgehog. That's going to be... Now I want to just talk about that for a sec.
That was the first sketch show I ever... one of the first sketches I ever put on the UCB. It was Ben Schwartz, Gil Rosari, Jackie Clark, and maybe Joe Mandy. I forget. But they had like the dirtiest sketch in New York City contest. It was the week Heath Ledger died.
Oh, boy.
And someone did a Weekend at Heath sketch where he ODs with the Olsen twins.
Now that sounds like a fun time.
I did a period blood sketch. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, man. Okay, here's some things I did not know about. So, Sonic the Hedgehog in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Are
part
we
of
doing
the plot,
why we hate the Sonic the Hedgehog?
I can't hate it preemptively. You know why? Because part of the plot is Sonic is on the run from the government. This is the literal...
Wait, which government, though? Because it made it seem like it's like Sonic is in our world.
He is. He's in San Francisco.
He's in San Francisco.
He's really in San Francisco.
Fish out of water.
He's on the run from the government.
Yeah, because he's like a really fast ET, I guess, at the end of the day. Like, I could just hear a general scoffing going, another dimension.
And Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey.
Probably a tool of the military-industrial complex that takes a little bit too much.
Absolutely.
And then the lighthearted general has to team up with Sonic in the end of the third act.
I like that they're going Robotnik and not Eggman. They're going with his old school name.
I still remember playing that first Sonic for the Dreamcast or the 3D one.
Oh, Sonic Adventure. Yeah,
Sonic Adventure. And they called it Eggman, and it just never felt right.
I'm with you. It didn't feel right.
The same thing. I could have an ulcer, but it also could be this weird feeling of like, Eggman, I don't like it.
Well, Eggman seems like the protagonist of his own video game. Robotnik sounds like an evil scientist.
Well, he's the creator of the Mean Bean Machine.
Which, that did have a game. That's right. That was like a Dr. Mario knockoff, right?
Straight up saying and going, we see your Dr. Mario, I raise you a Mean Bean Machine. Take that, fucking phonetic alliteration, you piece of shit.
As far as I know, the Mean Bean Machine was what happened when I played machine pitch baseball back as a child. I got hit a lot. That was a real Mean Bean Machine for me. Thank you for letting me wander all the way to that joke and just kind of kick it over a little bit. Let's talk about a movie that I would like to kick while it's down.
Hey,
The Dark Tower.
If I'm so glad that I chose this movie.
I'm not.
That you had to watch it.
It was
like I wasn't sure about. I was ready, and I still might be able to bang it out to go scene by scene,
dude.
Almost this whole movie and tell you what I hate about everything.
I would have loved it because here's how my weekend went. Because of this movie, I had a show Friday night, and afterwards, I was like, you know what? I haven't done this in a while. I'm going to go see a movie by myself in theaters.
Love it. It's
and
the
I went
best thing in the world, isn't it?
It's one of my favorite things to do. It's great because you don't have to worry about getting in an argument with your friend if they didn't like the movie and you did, or vice versa. And I went and saw Climax, which I think is a really fascinating, interesting movie. I really enjoyed it. There are parts of it that made me feel real uncomfortable. I think you should go see it.
It's about coming?
No, it's about a bunch of dancers who they have a rehearsal for their modern dance in the 90s. This is like the 90s in France.
Mm-hmm.
They have a dance party afterwards, and somebody spikes their sangria with acid.
Oh no!
And that's the whole movie is just them starting to slowly trip and have. Some of them have a fun time,
So it's
but
like
a lot of
the
people
chorus
have.
line meets Requiem for a Dream.
You know
meets
what?
Suspiria, directed by Herzog. It's sort of like that.
It's directed by Gaspar Noé, but
there you go.
everything else you kind of hit the nail on the head, and that's
Right.
you described it better than I could.
I'm a- and I haven't seen the
Dream.
But I'm a real cinephile. I'm a real.
You should.
It's hard to see movies. I'm in a relationship. Have been
Mhm.
for a while now, and it's hard to see movies alone.
Yeah.
Or like I have to if I want to do it, I know I have to tell her. Like it's a weird lie. Like,
Right.
yeah, I didn't go. That's why I didn't see Glass while it was out. I think it still might be playing at Sherman
It
Oaks.
probably is. You could probably. I mean, by now it might already be in the second run
Gotta
theater in
catch
Pasadena.
like a 4:30 showing.
But-
But I've just been moving and stuff. I just wanted to see Glass. But she's like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I almost got her to see Aquaman in the theaters, and then one of the roommate had one of the girls over, and one of his girls was over, and she was like, "Oh, you're gonna see Aquaman? It's not a bit long." And she's like, my girlfriend looks at me like, "How long's this movie?" It's like, I'm like 240.
Jesus.
She's like, "We're not going." I'm like, "Oh, you." That's so bad.
But so I see Climax, and I'm feeling it from the night before. I'm like, this is wow, what a movie. And then I wake up Saturday morning knowing I'm going to have to watch The Dark Tower.
Oh my god!
And I start watching
What
it.
a palate cleanser!
And it's just one of the it's the movie. It's barely even a movie. There's this movie was made by people who have experience in the filmmaking industry, and almost none of that shows on screen.
The director definitely has been called an auteur before.
The guy
it takes
won an
a
Oscar.
lot of swings.
He got. Are you either one or let me see. I wanted to make sure. He was nominated for an Oscar. He was nominated
Right.
for Best Foreign Language Film.
Right, which
And then we got producers like Akiva Goldsman, who.
so this was a long project. This
Mhm.
was okay because I've been a fan of these books when I read them in 05.
Okay.
05 is when I started reading books. I think even before the last one came out. 7-part book series. Now maybe 8 or 9 plus the comics and stuff they started doing.
Right.
But about Roland of Gilead, like fucking John Wayne, fucking really more Clint Eastwood spaghetti western, baddest mother, real piece of shit, epic Arthurian hero.
Right.
But it ties I like Stephen King, it ties every fucking story together. And then that's what Ron Howard was supposed to direct it. And they're like, okay, we're doing a movie, and then we're going to do 10 episodes of a premium cable show. They're going to be on HBO. And then we're going to do another movie. And then we're going to do another TV show. And it was the dumbest thing. So I know this script was made
And it
from
was
the
even-
bones of why don't we take 4 Ron Howard ideas and just smush it together?
Well, the crazy thing is, even before that, J.J. Abrams was supposed to make it.
Yeah.
And he was going to get Carlton Cuse and Damon Lindelof
Great.
to write it
I remember hearing those rumors.
back in 2007, and then
Mm-hmm.
it languished in development hell until our boy Nikolai Arcel in 2015.
I've never heard anyone say it out loud.
I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it, and if I pronounce your name wrong, I don't care because you made a goddamn awful
Why don't you
movie.
go stick a bunch of razor blades up your ass?
I mean, he should. This
Oh
movie
my
is
god!
bad.
So my number one problem with this movie.
Hit me with him.
Go. Number one problem. They're doing Jake's story. The fucking first line of the book: the man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. It doesn't appear until minute 13
Mhm.
in the movie. They start off Jake's dad is dead. He's got a stepdad. He's got a dad in the books. This guy's like, he will have a stepdad because he wants the pussy of the mother and wants to get rid of the kid.
Right.
You just can't have a shitty dad. And the thing is, this kid's got The Shining. That's pretty much.
Yeah.
But in the book, it starts off and it's the man in black fucking chasing this motherfucker across the desert, goes in his town. There's Weird Hey Jude cover playing. And they're like, oh, it's the remnants of a world. He bangs the bartender, and then he has to kill everyone in the town because like it's like a giant trap.
Okay.
Meets an old man, and then he meets the kid by like an abandoned weird mobile gas station. And the kid tells him this story. He's like, I had visions of this place, and I was walking, and
Right.
Matthew McConaughey shoved me in front of a bus. And that's how Jake gets the miracle. He dies. Right off the jump, he's like, I just died. Convince me this isn't heven.
Right. And he doesn't have this whole, because the movie deviates from it so immediately.
It carelessly, the first book is a movie. It's like you could make a half Hobbit. You could tell half the story of the first book and it'd still be a better movie. This guy comes along and he's like, I will take this from this book. I will take the cliffhanger at the end of the 6th and the 7th book is like, that will be my third act. And he's like, these things that don't even get introduced till book 5. That's fucking first scene. And it's that town. They show you that town of these kids.
Right.
Where they're sucking the shining out of them.
Right. And launching it at the Dark Tower.
Which, again, they're trying to weaken the beams, but part of it is like, they're like, all hail the Crimson King. That shit's in the background.
Yeah.
But Matthew McConaughey is like second banana. Like evil fucking Sauron guy. He's supposedly trapped on the tower. The first time we see the Crimson King, he got locked. He tried to climb the tower,
and then
got locked out in a balcony with like infinite ammo.
Whoops!
And he's like, they're like, why are you destroying this thing that you're supposed to be in service to? It's very confusing and it's very upsetting because none of it makes any real sense.
So, and I say this as somebody who has not read the Dark Tower series.
Go.
Give me the basic breakdown of what the main plot of the Dark Tower. What's the overarching story?
Roland. The Dark Terror, the Dark Terror.
The Dark Terror.
It's my knockoff fan fiction. The Dark Tower is like fucking heroin so in the book, one of the most like I don't care if you're listening to like
if you're listening to Spoiler City, who cares?
The book's been out since the 70s. I don't care.
Right.
Like, if you haven't read it, fine, go check it out. Me saying this won't ruin it. But Jake, there's a moment they're they're going like Gandalf fighting the fire demon.
Yeah.
They're being attacked by Jake and the kid, Jake and fucking Roland are being attacked by slow mutants. And he got the man in black. He's like, I'll tell you the secrets of the Dark Tower. And he looks down. He's like, or I could save Jake's life. And he's like, sorry, fucking kid. And let's go. And just like kills this kid. And the kid like calmly goes as well. It's like, there are other worlds than these. And just fucking dies. And then you got like a grieving man getting told a story from an old fucking shitty wizard.
Dude. And that's okay. This movie doesn't capture any of that. This movie there's so many problems in this movie. Pacing wise, it's all over the place. It's cobbled together from all of the stories.
This is an Arthurian legend.
Right.
This is him. This is Stephen King at his most Shakespearean. They just show like, oh, it's Rowan and his dad, what's that? I catch a bullet. You resist my magic there, Roland, and just kills Dennis Haybert in 3 seconds.
Right.
Like
he just shows
it mattered.
up and says, stop breathing, and that's it.
In the book, he's like, McConaughey fucks Dennis Haybert's wife. He's driving him insane, like trying to get the whole, just like little fingering to make a Game of Thrones reference, just like fucking the whole kingdom with his magic shit, and like crumbles an entire kingdom with like this. And it's an interesting story.
Yeah. This is just not interesting.
But the problem with the movie was I got my hopes up right in the beginning because they introduced like the equivalent of like the shape-shifting reptilian ruling class. You have the Taheen.
Right.
The Taheen are animal people.
Right. You see their fur, they've got the fake skin.
Human skins. And when I see that guy tugging, like there's 2 tugs, there's 2 mask adjustment shots in the first 10 minutes easily. I'm like, okay, they're nailing the Taheen a little bit. I'm like, they got the face masks and everything. These are bird people. I mean, it's a big swing, And I'm like, and I got hopeful, and I'm like, nope. And then everything just farted apart.
It really does fart apart. This movie stinks.
They made Roland just some guy who fights an interdimensional creature, and he's like, oh, gotta go get some aspirin, which also happens in the book. But
the biggest downside to this movie is that you don't really know who to care about.
No one.
You can't care about, there's none of these people even hoved into my field of vision of like, yeah, I actually want to know what happens to you in this story. I don't
just want to
give
know
a
what
shit about
happened
anybody.
with that girl when Matthew McConaughey's like, walks by that girl eating ice cream.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
goes, hate. And her eyes become black. And she's like, her mom's like, honey, is everything okay? Your pupils became your entire eye.
All of these stories don't matter in this movie.
It's like
though.
show don't tell, right? They did neither. Like,
It's just.
didn't tell me what happened. Didn't show me what happened.
I remember tracking the time of this movie to figure out how long it took for a
90. This
for-
is such like a clean cut.
It's
Sorry.
it's a 90-minute movie, but it takes them almost 45 minutes to even come close to explain what is going on. Everything else, it's them.
It's what matter. I'll put them a picture of the Shining building.
Exactly. You're
They'll
not
fight the Pennywise Carnival. What?
You can't understand anything that's going. Like, if you're gonna make a movie, I don't know who this movie's made for. Is this movie in your mind? Is this
It's-
movie made for fans of the book,
I
or
don't
for people
know
who don't
if
know?
that guy cared.
I don't think
Do
he
you
did.
know, like the same way that I think like Peter Jackson cared about the Lord of the Rings?
Yes, it's obvious.
But I don't think. I think this Nicholas goes like, "Oh, you could do this. Maybe you work with Ron Howard. You get to be in a room with Ron Howard and like workshop a story or like pick up where he left off and try." Like I could see the appeal of that. And like, oh, and here's a bunch of cash. But I don't know what like he goes deep cuts. But again, Akiva Goldsman's always a fucking
Akiva
like
Goldsman, he's
roll of a one-sided, three-sided
But that's
die.
the thing. It's just like you take the chance, and then all of a sudden there's it. Okay, here's the thing about Akiva Goldsman. Akiva Goldsman has written a lot of movies and produced a lot
Sure.
of movies over the course of his
A
career.
lot more than I have.
And the thing is,
I'm still at 0.
in those movies, even the really, really bad ones, like you take like your Batman and Robins,
Sure.
you have stuff happening early enough in the movie in the first 10 minutes or so where you're like,
Unenjoyable
I want to see where
movie.
this goes. I didn't give the only reason I watched this movie all the way through is because I knew I had to talk about it with you.
So
I almost shut it off.
So I had brought people. I was so excited to see this film. I'm like, this is at peak McConnaughey Renaissance.
right.
Maybe right before the Lincoln ads came out.
Yep.
We started getting worried.
I think this is in the
But,
in the
like-
period where we're like, he just won his
I
Oscar.
brought
He's doing
people.
all
I'm
kinds
like,
of
yeah,
stuff.
we'll go out. We'll see. Who doesn't love Idris Elba, you guys? Rock and roller. Guy Ritchie's rock and rollers, Idris Elba. And they're like, yeah, we'll go. Have a great time. I went with at least 5 people who have never let me pick a movie since. They're like, I can't trust you driving that dark tower.
I mean, they made the right call. This movie is trash.
It doesn't matter.
Through and through.
They're like, Roland's like a confused guy who got shot. Like, no, Roland's a piece of shit. Roland's a gruff bastard.
Right. I mean,
Ugh.
he's described by Stephen King himself as a man with no name, a Clint Eastwood
Yeah.
type.
He's
supposed to be.
That's where he wrote it. He's like, Stephen King was obsessed with those movies. He did a bunch of mescaline, and then he said he wrote like a 600-page story draft that he lost on the back of a motorcycle.
Right.
That's the story it goes.
And that's a really fascinating character. I would love to see that. But the other big problem you bring up is that this movie is not his story.
Mm.
Where do you think what even possesses somebody to make
Even
a
if
choice?
you're gonna pick and
like
choose, like,
that?
they introduce the Manny, which are like in the book they're farmers. In this, they don't look like any. They're just like look like bombed out, fallout fucking assholes.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, sorry, I was trying not to think about how hungry I was, like because I don't have any skills. But they're like, oh no, we're functioning farmers. But if you're gonna pick from these books, like they include this thing where Matthew McConaughey opens a shelf. And there's like the wizard's glass.
Right.
There's like 9 of them. And they're like sort of seeing, they all have different sort of properties.
Yeah,
and
different
stuff.
colors. You don't know
You gotta
what
be evil as tits to fucking, they're all connected to one. They're like, fucking Sauron rings or whatever.
Yeah.
And he picks, I'm like, okay, a little inclusion. I'm not even able to enjoy it no matter what because like, there's a million things that are cooler in the books. Like, okay, there's a standoff. Like, first of all, Roland doesn't fucking attack the Dixie Pig. End of book 6, right? It's the kid Jake and Father Callahan from Salem's Lot. Father Callahan, like again, this is like
his other characters.
this is the Dark Tower is like the DC universe. They're like we pick a lot of stuff up. Like we're gonna have cameos from all your favorite King guys.
Because there is a thing that I read, and I
The dude
haven't
from
read a lot
Hearts
of
of
Stephen King.
Atlantis, Brodigan.
Well, I
is in
know
it.
that the Man in Black is also Randall Flagg.
Randall Flagg,
Yeah.
much more evolved. Randall Flagg,
Mhm.
older, interdimensionally. Could be thousands of years older, Randall Flagg, for those standers out there. which again I heard they're doing.
They're supposed to be doing, an HBO series of that, I think. But so there's so much more. What are some of the things in this?
It's HBO?
I think so.
That got me excited.
What are some more of the things in the book series that they should have had in the movie?
Okay, right. That was
to
the
really
point.
do it justice.
So even that, like, Jake doesn't use bullets. He has like these, they look like little flying saucers, but they're almost like, they'll do Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat with like, he's got those, the blade hats.
Yeah, the blade hats.
He's chucking blade plates like crazy.
Odd Job
There's
style.
a scene in the book, The Wolves of Kala, where I believe they attack the Manny, and it's like a Magnificent Seven showdown at the end of it.
Mhm.
But their opponents are Doctor Doom bots with wolf faces throwing explosive Harry Potter the
Like
snitches,
the golden snitches.
and they're just like it's like fucking jerk off fan service. It's great imagery and shit. But they stormed the Dixie Pig at the end. That's like where it looks like our Korean market of like in the book. It's like a greasy Italian restaurant, and everyone's just like feather fucking. Everyone's like, getting fingered and stuff.
Right, and this just seems like a Brooklyn pop-up bar somewhere.
Oh yeah, it's just like some abandoned industrial place.
And then they're like, "We're gonna do a flea market here for evil people. Hey, if you want some real artisanal potions, I got you on lock, distilled from the blood of these children."
Because that's what it is. Like, I think there's just as many like adult, like in those camps that they show in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
In the book, there's just as many like adults, like the Anthony Hopkins character Brodigan from Hearts of Atlantis.
Right? Yeah.
He's good with the shine. He's like one of the most powerful shiners. Also in the books a lot, and is in one of those camps. He's like breaking, and they don't suck it out of your brain. They sort of, it happens by like thinking or being creative or listening to music. Or doing something, and then like they try to destroy the beams that connect to tower, the way of the turtle, the way of the bear. I could go on, but like but they make like this guy almost is like, I will make it about the secret Hollywood six pedophile, and it's like, oh, they're always after our children.
It is actually, you know what? Maybe that's what he's trying to do.
I love that. I did love this shot of he's trying to escape, and the mom's like, "What? No, I think he's just taking a shot." And the guy busts through the door, and the big fatty just like parkours out the window.
Dude, that's the most.
I love when large people do parkour. You don't see it a lot.
Seeing a middle-aged woman with in her eyes, just, I'm gonna get this motherfucking kid, and just like sprinting with the get out look in her eyes. And she's just running down the subway, and they're so dumb. He just pops out the other side of the subway and evades them.
We haven't talked about the Demon House yet.
Let's talk about the Demon House.
Demon House in the books, they get back to New York, and it might be in the 70s. I forgot what time period they're in, but they somehow find this Demon House, and again, pretty short fight. Mm-hmm. For a Demon House battle. Right. You have like a little bit of like a right. You see like the wooden boards.
It's like a weird wood demon.
And then it like, wood can pierce flesh. Yeah. As any good carpenter knows this.
I mean, he has child's blood.
Shot when those things came up, like, you're dead. Like, you're dead, and then it's like, ah! And he just yells, and he has like, I'm the shine! And then it farts off. It's like, oh, fucking welcome to Midworld. Boop.
And then
the doors, and that's the thing. Like, that's the second. The first book's called The Gunslinger. Second book's called Drawing of the Three, where they get their little posse together. Mm-hmm. It's him, black chick in a wheelchair, and a goddamn junkie by the name of Eddie. Like, when you meet like Eddie the junkie, it's like Roland gets into the back of his head because Eddie's brain is a portal or something, and Eddie is trying to smuggle heroin through LaGuardia. Coming in on the plane,
just regular.
And so Roland
stuff.
Like gives some advice on a thing because he's in like a sort of mind fused Pacific rimming like
he's in the drift.
So like, I shall help you with this clearing of the gate. I love that turn of phrase, the clearing of the gate, as in like it's some fucking like mini quest in a goddamn.
Let me ask you this. This is something I noticed about this movie.
Again, that would have been great.
I feel like the way that the people in this movie talk doesn't sound like anything that real people would say.
There's a whole language that they don't even touch upon, though.
If in the book it's like
do it please ya. That's like a line that they use.
Do it please ya.
Sci. They don't call people sir. They call them Sci. S-I-S-A-I.
But you know what? I would rather see going full in on being in the jargon of the world and having to kind of figure it out as it goes along, instead of this like we have this kid who's like, I'm a plucky kid, and then all of a sudden you have Roland who's talking all that is. I mean, I will say the one saving grace.
I'm not a gunslinger anymore. I used to be a gunslinger. I'm still good at shooting, but I don't. My dad's face.
But Roland in the hospital in the real world and not in Midworld. That's the only saving grace of this entire movie. Just Idris Elba ripping out IVs from his arm, and the lady being like, "You shouldn't be good enough to like sit up," and he's like, "I don't need any of your human."
Him popping Xannies down fucking 7th fucking Avenue. He's like, I haven't felt this in good years.
I love these painkillers. And then the girls on the bus, and he's clearly these aren't real. He's giving them the guy Smarties. And the guy and the girls on the bus are like, "Hey, you guys, you want to party?" And he's just like, I refuse. I refuse the pleasures of the flesh. I will not fuck you on a bus. I have to eat these candies."
And that's the whole thing. And those books, Roland, stay fucking, bro.
See, that's the thing.
He keeps it wet. He keeps it juicy. He's always got his hands in somebody's cupboard, if you catch my drift.
He's doing some Indian in the cupboard, making things grow.
I compared a vagina to an old giant wooden box full of dust.
Hey, listen, sometimes cupboards are well maintained. You keep them waxed nicely. You keep them waterproof.
A little polyurethane.
Yeah, get some shellac on there.
A little upcare and maintenance.
I don't see why they thought this was the path to go with this movie.
Again, that's what I think happened. I think like they had this giant plot for this 4-part Ron Howard thing. And even now, I'm being nice to the movie. Like, maybe they tried it. Maybe they were going to do it better than it actually happened. Because I wanted this movie to be so fucking good.
Right.
And it's like, I could see this guy coming on board and some guy going, all right, like this is what Ron Howard planned for the first story, second story, third story, fourth story. And Nikolai's going, I will do all of them. I don't care for you. We will take the hell I cannot get the ideas over across. When Matthew McConaughey says, welcome to the apocalypse, or like, enjoy the apocalypse.
Man.
Like, that's his last line to fucking Rorschach Bad News Bears, dude.
Yeah.
It's
good Jack
it's delivered with all the enthusiasm of someone at a fast food employee at Enjoy the Apocalypse. Like, it's just...
Hi, welcome.
You're supposed to be the most evil guy.
We have Apocalypse on special right now. Would
and
you like
what
to
are your
add
powers? That? What are your powers again? Oh, I'm telekinetic, I guess. Just telekinesis.
That's the thing. It feels like this is supposed to be during the reconnaissance, right?
He's throwing the bullets back like he's in fucking Loaded Weapon with Emilio Estevez.
Right. If he's so smart,
throwing bullets.
If he's so smart and he's able to catch these bullets and use his magic, how does he get shot at the end the way he simply does? Just because Idris Elba can say his weird gun prayer?
I got a couple D&D books back at the house. I've played over my day. Limited spell usage from this guy. It's like, oh, at the end, now I'll do a fire spell? Burn that motherfucker. Put up a goddamn firewall. You can't do a firewall?
Why don't you cast all your buffs before you go into battle?
Oh, I drained all my energy making sure this little girl at the park like tried to stab her mom with an ice cream cone.
Look, man, I played some D&D myself in the day. I played as a gnome bard. And
the last campaign, we went 2 years, and the only people that were left from the original game when it started were me and the DM. I invited a comedian. I'm not going to tell you his name.
Okay.
But I invited him into the group. And I missed 2 sessions because I was like, trying not to be homeless. And
that's good reasoning.
I got a call from the DM like, it's fucking over. And we're on our last dungeon on this 2-year campaign. I'm like, what the fuck happened? And apparently there was like a training area, and him and this other guy argued for 42 minutes about the damage of a fire spell. That didn't matter. It was like a training montage thing. And then like the DM sitting back there trying to get it going, and he's like, you know what? Get the fuck out of my house.
See, that's the thing. But like the beauty of D&D is that you can do stuff and things are not supposed to work out certain ways. Like I had the spell as the bard because the bard doesn't really have.
Oh, but I was half bard. I was dual class half bard.
So fighter. So I had a bard spell. It was a grease trap spell. Mm-hmm. So basically, you just cast some oil on the ground, and I would do that anytime we're getting in a fight. I'll cast the grease trap about as far in front, as close to in front of the people who I'm fighting as I can, because hey, they might slip, and they might fall and hurt themselves and can't get back up. Matthew McConaughey, what you doing, Walt? What you doing, Randall, Man in Black? You gotta fight your battles a little bit better.
I could catch I could prevent glass from falling on me and then shoot it out like it's a portal gun. Fuck out of here.
Can I tell you a quick other D&D story, by the way?
Can you?
Now that we're on the topic, one of my favorite campaign moments I've ever had. I had a buddy of mine who played as a character. He was a fighter. His name was Stathaman. And it was basically his version of Jason Statham.
I got there.
You figured it out.
You said Statham, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
And we were in this point in the campaign where there was a guy who had been sort of our guide through this area, and then all of a sudden he revealed himself to be not only evil but also the future version of Stathaman. And so we're all fighting him, and he's destroying our group. He's like laying waste. We're all coming very close to death. And my buddy Parker, who is playing this character, he's like, wait a minute. And he goes, we're at an area by a cliff. And he's like, I'm going to jump off this cliff. And he rolls and he does a jump check and he jumps off the cliff and dies. And then the future Stathaman also dies. And our DM was like,
that's amazing.
Okay.
He's disrupted the timeline.
That's fine. And we were like, man, you sacrifice. You're a good man. You're a good man, Parker.
I like the role playing part of it. Like I like interacting with the characters. Some people are just like, all right, I move here. I'm like, no, these are people.
Mm-hmm.
They would have to function together. That's like sure, it's a military unit. Maybe they're quiet.
Right.
But like you would have to engage if I engage you.
Yeah.
And we had like this, my two favorite D&D moments really fast, where recently there was, so I was an inheritor trait.
Okay, I don't know
So that
one.
means like my dad was something, or like I have something important. And we made it like, so my dad was like I was playing the character like a weird Sean Lennon.
Okay.
Like your dad's John Lennon and you're like the prodigal son that never,
Right. You carry that Yoko energy with you
but
still.
then we played a what do you call it? A side quest as our fathers and other people related to our stories. And I played this guy. Like, what was your father's name? I was like, oh, Chrysanthemum. And they're like, what does he sound like? And I'm like, and I just started doing Spock's voice. Leonard Nemo. No. I was doing what's his face? Fucking
Zachary Quinto version?
No, I wasn't doing Spock. I was doing God damn it, it's not Sulu. Yeah, Sulu.
Sulu?
Yeah,
that's Sulu.
Him all day. Oh my! And I got to do that for that was a 4-hour stretch of keeping that up. And the first favorite, that's like recent. And the first time when we started playing D&D, my cousin who has moderator tattooed on his body, we started. It's like maybe the second time I was playing a character called Peter Frampton the 37th. True story. And we come back from, it was like maybe the 5th or 6th one. And at the start, it was like, you notice that this one, he points to one of the other guys. It's like a 10-person game. One of the guys like, you notice he is full half angel, half demon. He is level 20. And we're like, what? Like it was like a third game. And they're like, yeah, he found something and landed 100 and made a wish to be like mega
the most
god.
biggest
And then
possible.
it's just like, it was like hanging out with God. He's like, what? No, you're dead. Like,
wow.
Killed everybody. It's just like one of those DM fuck you moments. They're like, nope, it happened. Eat it.
That's what I thought was going to happen with us. And then you jump off a cliff, everything changes.
That's great.
I feel like more...
He loopered himself.
He did. More people who make fantasy movies. I think if the people who made this movie had played a little bit of D&D, they would have understood so much more about how to make a narrative that actually functions.
I just don't care. First book, Jake dies twice. First movie, Jake dies 0 times.
Yeah.
I
never felt like he was in danger at all.
There's no development. They're like, hey, you want to come with me? Hey, you want to starve in the desert as I fucking chase my forever goal? And there's a detail that's so fucking stupid.
What is it?
So at the end of the actual books, Roland's back in the desert and sort of like time resets.
Mm-hmm.
And the first and the last sentences of the book are the same. But he's got this horn that was broken.
Right.
And they're like, oh, but he's got the horn now.
So that means there's no more time.
Maybe it's going to be different this time because of this horn. And in this, they're like, oh, he's got that horn. So they're like, oh, this is not a remake. This is a continuation of the story that we're able to open. I'm like, fuck you people. Like, don't think you just talk your way out of this.
Well, listen, now I do want to read the Dark Tower series just to see what actual
If
good
you want to see
storytelling is like.
if you like homicidal trains,
I'm enlisting.
you're gonna love those books.
That's my favorite version of Thomas the Tank Engine fan fiction is the one where he eats the kids at Shining Time Station.
And George Carlin has to exorcise the demon from his steamy heart.
That's how Ringo Starr got the job. Is after George Carlin had put Thomas to rest.
Oh my god!
And Ringo Starr comes in.
Oh,
well, listen,
Christ.
dude. I appreciate you at the very least being willing to watch this movie again and relive the horrors.
I told you on the way up, like I took me two efforts. I had to exert my will twice to watch it. Like I made it to the first 35 minutes, just fell asleep because I think like at my base subconscious was like, I have to shut off your brain. You shouldn't have to process this
This is
information.
a traumatic experience.
You work too hard to live your life like this. And then I had to go back and rewatch it. And there were so many other things. Like I still haven't watched True Detective season 3.
I haven't watched it either. Now I got to watch it. I got to cleanse this from my palate.
I gotta wait. I gotta get on my Marshala binge.
He's a good one, that Marshala.
It's great.
Oh man. Well, I appreciate at least you coming and talk to me.
He would have made
a good anything.
He would have made a good
movie.
anything. Yeah.
By the way, I didn't even ask you this.
Go ahead.
What is if you had to recast any person in this movie to play? Let's go. I mean, let's go with the obvious one. We talked about Idris Elba a lot,
Jake,
but
Lion King era, Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
that would be fun.
No. That's not. I can't make my real answer.
If you recast the three leads to who your ideal people are. Who's your Jake? Who's your Roland? Who's your Man in Black?
Man in Black. They dye his hair. They keep it long, but a black-haired Wyatt Russell.
Oh, okay, that's a good pick. Wyatt Russell is a nice underrated
I've been
actor.
enjoying. I've been watching that Lodge show that he was on AMC. I really like that, and then I saw him in Overlord recently. And a couple of things.
He's really great on his episode of Black Mirror.
Very true.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's got that fucking he can go glass-eyed. Or no, Ben Foster. Ben Foster,
another great pick.
Ben Foster, fucking all for days. Current day Ben Foster is the Man in Black, and fuck it, even Chris Pine, get the boys back together from that fucking movie that they did with Robin Banks that I totally remember the name of.
It's Hell or High Water.
The Ballad of Buster Highwater.
I think, yeah. And what about? And then so you got that as a Man in Black. Who's Roland?
Roland. I mean. The dude who played Sawyer from Lost.
Oh my God,
Josh. What's his name?
Josh. It's not Josh Duhamel, but that's all I can think of right now.
He's a Josh Duhamel type. Like
he's
if someone put out Josh Duhamel type, he'd show up.
He's about as Josh Duhamel as it gets.
I think he could go. He could go Rolandy.
God, what's his name? Sawyer. I'm just gonna Google Sawyer from Lost. Sawyer from Lost.
Also, people don't know this at home, but. It's been hard to get enraged about this because I've been petting your cat the whole time.
See, I think
I've just been rubbing its belly for 50 minutes.
That's the new secret to this podcast is I have people on to come talk about movies that they hate, and then Edgar being on the couch just chilling, sort of. He's a very good therapy cat.
He's a very good cat.
And he's not even a therapy cat. He's just a guy.
I really like good cats because it's so much contrast to shitty cats who just want to scratch and.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. He has his shitty moments. He has clinical anxiety, so I got to feed him Prozac. And giving this cat Prozac is one of the worst experiences. It takes me I'm getting better at it, but the first couple times it took me about 30 minutes to get that pill into his mouth. But it is what it is.
Chop it up and put it in his food, silly.
I tried that. He's too smart.
He's too smart, right?
He eats around it. Josh Holloway.
There
you go. Well, let's bring his career back.
Star of the Joe Russo directed episode of season 2 of Paintball from Community.
Man.
Cuts.
Well, thanks for coming on today.
Hey,
Tim.
oh wait, and then Jake.
Oh, hey,
let's go, Jake.
Yeah, who's Jake? If it's not Jonathan Taylor Thomas,
not Lion King era Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
I feel like the kid from Room could be a good Jake.
The kid from Room is actually a pretty. You know what? What's his face? The season 1 most nerdy kid from Stranger Things.
Oh God. What's his name?
The one that's trying to figure 11.
Yeah. Oh fuck. What's his name? Oh my God.
He's got a.
All I can think of is the other.
It's a hippie name. Is it Rivers?
I think it's something in that vein. Hold on. Now let's look.
Leaf. Is it Leaf?
I think it's Twig. Twig Jackson.
Branch Mahoney.
His name is Finn Wolfhard.
Wolfhard. Okay, so it wasn't the first name. You fucking half cartoon. Wolfhard?
Hard.
Wolfhard.
Like a hard on.
Jesus
Finn Wolfhard
Christ.
sounds like a character from The Dark Tower.
I mean, yeah. Like, sounds like a fucking like old winter
And also,
fighter. Oh my god.
Don't forget other great name, Gaten Matarazzo.
Is that also from Stranger?
That's also from Stranger Things. That's
Gaten
the kid that's the kid
Maserati?
with the lisp. Gaten Matarazzo.
I'll end with this. I was watching some of those. He was on the Too Much Tuna Broadway
Nick
show
Kroll?
thing they did,
Yeah.
and they asked him, was like, "Do you know what cocaine is?" He's like, I'm 13 years old. I know what cocaine is.
I'm 13 years old in Hollywood. Of course I know. Come on, give me some fucking credit.
I'm all goosed up. Don't look at me in the eyes, man.
That's the best Gaten Matarazzo impression I've ever heard.
It's the first time I've ever tried it.
It's a good one. You
Thanks.
can do your back. Tim, thanks for coming on today, dude.
Hey, listen. You know, if you guys need to book me for impressionists, come over, pretend to be one of the
You
Stranger
kind of
Things
do
kids.
look like grown-up Gaten Matarazzo anyway. I think you could pull that off. Just that's your new video series. Tie it in. Season 3's coming out soon. Be ready. What's the best place the listeners can find you on the internet?
Oh, we have something coming out. I know I have a YouTube channel. You can just go to @TimTheOK on Instagram. We have some stuff in the works. We're doing this stupid rock podcast where we're reviewing every rock movie.
Oh yeah.
It's called The Hard Place.
Oh, I like that.
I pitched it as a joke, and they're like, "No, we'll do it. You could do 10 episodes of it, right?" And then someone's like, "Oh, it's a limited amount of thing." I'm like, "Why would you want to do that?" I'm like, "Why would I want to keep doing it?
Right.
I have an out. Like,
That's the thing.
then do a yearly or get together 3 times a year with some people."
That's one of the podcasts that it comes to mind immediately when you talk about that is the McElroy brothers and the guys from The Worst Idea of All Time do a yearly podcast where it's hold on, let me see if I can pull the name of it up right.
God damn it, someone probably got there.
No. They watch Paul Blart Mall Cop every Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, I know this.
It's Till Death Do Us Blart, and they watch that, and the goal is to watch it every year and even after they die, they have people set up to replace them.
Paul Blart 2 makes Godfather 2 look like Godfather 3. That's the pull quote.
That's a great pull quote. I'm gonna put that on the DVD box when I start bootlegging it out here on Fairfax. You can find.
Thanks for having me. This was really nice.
Thanks for being on. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for show dates. And if you like the podcast, subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend. It's all good.
Yeah,
things.
I'm gonna be resharing this a couple times.
Hell yeah. Well, this has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.